Hello everybody, this is Money Mom. Welcome back to the channel. I'm especially excited about today's video. I am doing a collab with one of my favorite YouTubers, Frugal Jo. We are doing a video, and our videos may be a little bit different because she lives in England, I live in the United States, but we are doing a video on what would I do if I only had $100 a month for groceries. Let me get right into it. I do have a generous grocery budget of $450 for a family of 3. That includes all food items, no cleaning products. Last month I came way under budget, which was a blessing. But what would I do if all I had was $100 and I didn't have a choice? I'm going to get into 16 ideas of things that I would put into place to help really slash that grocery budget. Remember though, if one wants to slash a grocery budget, you will need to take more time to really prepare, because a big part of the reason people's grocery budgets are higher, not in all cases, is because you are buying more convenience and processed foods. If we all spent less time buying that and more time preparing things, we would definitely save money. So the first thing that I would do, number one, is shop once a month. I'd probably spend the $90 and shop one time a month. And then I would save $10 to kind of do little fill-in things throughout the month. So that's the first thing. Number two, I would plan my meals for an entire month. I would see what I had in my refrigerator, freezer, and pantry, and I would write out a menu for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for the entire month. Number three, I would probably do some meal prepping, like maybe take part of a Sunday and meal prep, and I have a bunch of portion containers, and make a lot of food for the week ahead so that I would have breakfast, I'd have some lunches, and I'd have some dinners. And I'd have a lot of them prepped and put into portion control containers so that we were ready to go, so we didn't think, oh, we don't have anything to eat. Well, you want lunch? Well, guess what? I've got some soup back there in a container ready for you, and you've got like a piece of cornbread to go with it. There's your meal. And it's already prepared ahead, so you're not having to prepare it at that time. Because that's where I think people can waste money, is they think that, oh, I don't feel like fixing something. Well, if you fix a bunch of stuff at once and, store it correctly, it can really help in the long run. Number three, and that, I guess I already said that, meal prep and portions. That means you're going to have to take time to actually spend time meal prepping. I've done that before, but it does take some time, but it can certainly save you money. Number four, and this is a biggie, I would not spend any of my money on any type of beverage, except maybe a little bit of almond milk, something like that. We would no longer be drinking coffee, because that is not something I need. I wouldn't be buying any other types of drinks at all. No bottled water for, we would, because I do buy that for the yard guys. I wouldn't be buying that at all. So we would basically buy pretty much no beverages, and that would save a lot of money. Number five, I would be doing, and I'd be learning how, and I've actually watched some videos on this, I would be making more beans. Yes, you can make it with rice or without rice. I'd be doing more simple pasta meals, and you can maybe get some vegetables and saute those, all of that, and use a pasta. I'd be doing a lot of potatoes and making that, because this is very inexpensive. You can have a potato bar, and that's one of the least expensive things that you can have. And you can always make these items more nutritious by adding vegetables and things like that. So that's one of the things I would do. So basically beans, pasta, because that's one of the inexpensive. Eggs too, I didn't take the eggs out, but that would be something else. Number six, less meat, and not only less meat, but cheaper quality of meat. I'm going to give you an example. The other day at Aldi, instead of buying chicken breasts, they had boneless, skinless chicken wings on sale. Not as much meat, and it was darker meat, but they had them in half. So I got a huge tray of it for like $2.50. And basically our family ate off that for 3 days. And I only spent not even quite $2.50 for that. Versus if I would have bought the chicken breast or chicken tenders, it would have been like $5.64, and that tends to only last us 2 meals. So basically what I bought lasted us 3 meals for $2, and we'll just say $2.50 versus $5.64 for 2 meals. So we definitely got better savings on that. So basically less meat in whatever I'm using, and also cheaper quality of meat. Number 7, less processed food and less convenience food. I'd see what I could make myself. You know, you can make your own cookies, crackers, and for example, let's say I bake some homemade cookies or cake. I can portion that out, and I can also freeze it. Well, I always tell you guys, a freezer is your friend. Number 8, I'd look for really good, reasonable markdowns, and I would be very mindful of what the dates are, and I might even ask the manager, and I was even told by the manager of Aldi, if you ever find anything that's going to expire yesterday or today, let us know. We may be able to mark it down. Now, it takes time to do that, but getting things that are about to expire and mentioning can really save money. Number 9, more simple foods. For example, I would buy cereal. Cereal can be kind of expensive, so we may need to buy more things like oatmeal, make it up in a slow cooker, and then portion that out. This would be a lot cheaper than buying a box of cereal. Potatoes, pasta, beans, more simple meals, simple spices, things like that. Number 10, I wouldn't be buying extras like candy and things like that. Now, let's say after Valentine's Day, they marked it to 90% off and they couldn't get rid of some. Maybe buying a bag or so and storing a couple in the freezer, that might be a possibility, but I wouldn't be buying candy for the candy dish because candy has really gone up in price. I wouldn't want to spend close to $4 for a bag of candy when I only have a $100 budget. Number 11, I would keep a list of to-go-to foods that are inexpensive. It says that oatmeal, potatoes, I mean, some of these things, and these are just a couple things off the top of my head. I know there's a lot of inexpensive foods, but I would keep a to-go list of inexpensive foods to always have on hand. Also, number 12, I would have a standard menu that I would come up with inexpensive meals, like breakfast, oatmeal, an egg casserole, but I probably wouldn't put meat in there or very little meat. Cornmeal mush, and I know that might not sound delicious, but it actually tastes like a bowl of cornbread. Lunch, soups, pasta salads, sandwiches, dinner, casseroles. I grew up, I'm from Minnesota, the casserole capital of the world. I grew up with tons of Hungarian goulash. You guys know my dad's Hungarian. And I grew up, paprika was the spice that my mom constantly used. And instead of using a whole ground beef, you could take 1 pound of ground beef and cut that up into 4 meals and use 1/4 of it. Or you could use turkey. That would be something else that you could possibly do. So make casseroles, but fill it with other things instead of meat. Everyone thinks they have to have so much meat. There's so many other things you can use besides meat that are a cheaper source of protein, so I would always be mindful of that. But we would be eating a lot more casseroles and be filling it with vegetables and things like that. Also, number 13, and I kind of mentioned this, I do have to say I am gifted at baking. I love to bake. I would spend a day baking a bunch of stuff, breads, rolls, cookies, like pumpkin bread, all of that. I could either portion it out and freeze all of that and label it. That could really save money. Number 14, if I wanted to buy something like a box of crackers, I'd ask myself, could I make it cheaper? So that means if I make things, I would need to keep all different kinds of flour, sugar, and I know sugar isn't the healthiest for us, but it'd be healthier to make that from your own ingredients and know what's going into something versus buying processed. So I'd have to make sure I have all my baking supplies. Now, I do know some people that are on a tight budget. They don't buy butter, they buy margarine. I don't know if I would have to do that. Actually, I don't even know if I've ever tasted margarine. I know that might sound odd. I don't even know if it tastes like butter. Maybe you could tell me. Okay, last but not least, another thing that I've been doing, and I saved $12 last week doing this, make sure at the end of my grocery trip, am I willing to put items back? Because that can always save. And number 16, last but not least, check out all the different stores in the area and see who has good prices where. It would take a while to get it down to a $100 budget. Do I think I could really do it? Yes, but I want to mention again, it would take a lot of time and effort to do it. If you had to do it, you probably would. But I know that it would definitely take some trial and error, and it would definitely take a lot of time in the kitchen really preparing things ahead so that you had everything that you needed. So, because a lot of times I love my convenience foods. I love my cereals. I love buying, things like crackers, things that are already made for me. So let me know, guys, if you only had $100 a month for groceries for a family of 3, or you had to slash your grocery budget in half, what changes would you make? I'd love to hear from you. Before signing off, I'm doing that shout out to Frugal Jo. She's one of my favorite YouTubers. She gives a lot of valuable information. Please go check out her channel if you haven't done so already. Let her know Money Mom sent you. I love you. I appreciate you. And like I always said, I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.